What's cooking, Juventus fans? Welcome back to your old lady's favorite YouTube channel. I'm not wasting any time. We have a ton to get to. We're going to actually do a real rundown of the news, maybe a little less opinionated. I'll promise. We'll see how it goes. Stick with us. We'll fill you in. Ciao ragazzi, welcome back to the Bianconeri Zone. My name is Justin Sofro. Today, it's Friday, May 13th. Uh-oh, that's not a good sign. But whatever, it depends. Are you superstitious? I'm not. But anyway, it's Friday, May 13th, 2022. And of course, I got your latest rundown of all things Juventus, all the news you care about each and every day. Before we do this, before we get into it, hit that like button, smash that subscribe button, join the community that we have here, over here at the Bianconeri Zone. Let's get into it, the news that we have for you. Starting it off with Paul Pogba, the big news, I'd say big news, but there's a ton of massive news that we got to get to. First up, it's Paulo Namolo. He had a bunch of bombshells that he dropped late yesterday evening. It depends where you are in the world, if you will. But anyway, first up, he says, talking about Paul Pogba, I believe and I am told that as a possibility and a priority, there is Pogba. When Vincenzo Raiola was in Turin, it was neither for Pellegrini nor for Moise Kean, but for Pogba. Juve's offer for Pogba is that of a three-year deal plus an option exercisable by Juventus, and at 7.5 million euros per season, plus 2.5 million euros in bonuses, divided as follows: half based on appearances and personal performance, half team objectives. Juve can go to a max of 8.2 million euros. I'm guessing that means 8.2 million euros tops. So if they're at 7.5 with 2.5, obviously that's 10, but then I'm guessing it's 8.2 as a base. That's my take of this. I could be wrong, but that's what I'm taking from it. 8.2 as a base, and then maybe you can go 2.5, raising it up there from there. We'll see how adamant is Paul Pogba to actually take a pay cut to come back to Juventus. Well, we have an update also on that by Tuttosport, who are saying that Juventus Pogba's return is possible. He is willing to lower his demands to return to Turin. Paul in recent months has sent more than one message to Turin, making it clear that he would gladly return to where he felt at home. So it seems, for all intents and purposes, that Paul Pogba is willing to take a pay cut, to drop his fee, drop it. Obviously, he's like 15 million or whatever it is euros right now, and maybe more than that. I could be wrong. Drop it down to 10 with bonuses included. If he's willing to do that, that might be a good deal overall for Juventus and for Paul Pogba and coming back to the team that he likes. Paul Pogba might also have to be one of those options that Juventus look at, because there's some roadblocks in the other options. That would be a good segue, but we have one more to talk about before we get there. First up, we need to talk about Di Maria and his situation. Romeo Gresti basically coming out, the Bible when it comes to Juventus, saying that Juventus' decision for Di Maria is coming. A maximum technical appreciation, still ongoing evaluations on the issue of salary and age for Di Maria. A new contact with the Argentines entourage is expected in the coming hours. So it seems right now, hold your horses. Don't worry, Di Maria, I guess it depends. Do you want him? Do you not want him? But if you're high on Di Maria, he seems to be an option that Juventus are also high on, and that they're good with going ahead and making a move on and bringing him into the club as soon as possible. As soon as this Mercado gets open, I see him probably coming in. You can probably see an agreement, because he's obviously not there's no transfer fee or anything like that, so it'd be a free, so they'd be able to get this done, the agreement done, as soon as possible, even before the Mercado opens. But as I was trying to head toward earlier, talking about the Milinkovic-Savic option, this is why Paul Pogba might be becoming such a hot button issue, hot topic, if you will, because Paul Pogba may be the best one out there. Because of Milinkovic-Savic, unfortunately, it seems that I have some not so good news for you from, of course, the source of Paulo Namolo. He says, and I trust Paulo Namolo, it seems that when he comes out and says something, he absolutely means it. He actually says it in the best possible way. Or in the most, maybe when I say best possible way, the least cloudy way. Most people like to say it's possible or whatever, this and that. Paulo Namolo gives you details, gives you specifics. He says, Juve have been talking to Kezman for 2 years. The problem is that he hasn't sat down with Lotito for 2 years. So what steps forward getting closer to Juve? What steps forward getting closer to Juve are we talking about if no one has directly sat down with Lotito? Until then, it's cinema. So it's all nonsense. You can go and talk to the agent, but if the agent hasn't talked to Lotito in 2 years, what's the point? You can't make a sale then until he's on a free. You'd have to wait another year or so. He goes on to say that Lotito is now letting PSG and United know that Savic can leave and that he no longer asks for the 100 million euros that he used to, but he's still asking too much even for Juventus. Basically, he's doing what we expect Lotito to do. Hey, everybody but Juventus, because I'm not going to say the negative words, but you know what I mean. You know what Lotito is. He's that guy. He's going to go sell him to Manchester United, sell him to PSG. Obviously, he doesn't want him in the same realm as him. He doesn't want to give it to a competitor right now, but this is the situation. He goes on to say, talking to Kesman, offering 4 years plus 1 at 5 million net plus 1 bonus is the easy part. What has changed? Has someone from Juve sat down with Lotito? No. Then we are talking about nothing. Lotito is not Camiso and running the business. So obviously, with what you get from Lotito or from Camiso likes to talk big, and then he comes to the table and helps with Juventus and gets the deal done. Lotito's not that guy. Lotito is not a positive influence when it comes to what we want for Juventus. He is a guy that will cause issues and will keep it from happening. So that's what it looks like with Milinkovic-Savic. Unfortunately, negative news for us Juventus fans. I would love to see Milinkovic-Savic come to the club. Moving forward, he goes on, Polo Namola, with more things to talk about, talking about Frenkie de Jong, saying, I have too much realism today to think about Frenkie de Jong because of cost, but especially time with his agent. They talked about it in January when they were discussing Zakaria, then no more. So as we kind of know, and as we kind of figured, it seems that Zakaria, that whole situation seems to basically have blocked the idea of Frenkie de Jong coming to Juventus, and then at the same time, right now, what we know is it's heating up between Frenkie de Jong and possibly going to either Manchester United, a team like that, is where it seems to go. So it seems you're losing one, Frenkie de Jong's falling off the board, potentially, and then also you can see Milinkovic-Savic potentially really falling off the board unless things develop and change, which would be, obviously, a massive blow to Juventus if you can't get Milinkovic-Savic. As much as I like Pogba, he's older, he's had some injuries recently, I would rather have Milinkovic-Savic in this moment. Continue on. We got to talk about another player that Juventus are interested in, and that is, of course, Udogie, who could be a nice little get in the left-back position we're talking about for Juventus. Paulo Nemolo says that Juventus and Verona had a meeting last week to talk about Udogie. They started talking about the request at 15 million euros, the offer, and the players that Igor Tudor might be interested in. They're also, Atalanta is in on the player. So definitely, if, there's hopefully still a good relationship with Igor Tudor, maybe they can work out a deal where if they get some players that Juventus have either in their youth system, some lower level players, then maybe we can get in and get a deal done if it appeals to him, and then make sure that Udogie, who I think would be a great option to come into Juventus, that would be a good move forward there to replace guys like Alexander and get him out of here. Next up, we got to talk about him. While we're also looking at left backs, you got to talk about Vindal, who, of course, Paulo Nomolo makes a comment, and we talked about him a lot on the channel in the recent months. Just saying that when Vincenzo Raiola was entered, it was for Vindal. The distance between the 10 plus 5 offer and the 20 request is still there. So there's still a lot of ground to be made up if you even want to see him come to Juventus. So for right now, let's put him on the back burner for Juve. Next up, like I said, I'm trying to run through this fast because there is a lot, and I'm trying not to get winded. I talk a lot, but I can only talk so much, right? Paulo Nedved also talks about another talent that Juventus are looking in, a younger, not Italian talent, is, I think, a Hungarian player, actually. I keep hearing that they haven't given up on Szoboszlai, and I tried to say that right. It's probably wrong. I apologize. I have a feeling that second signing in the midfield is a great youngster, but non-Italian one. It's a feeling. So it could be this player. I know a lot of fans are high on him. I know a lot of people like him. I like him personally. If Juventus could end up getting a young non-Italian talent, this might be the guy we're looking for. We'll see what happens there. Continue to keep an eye on that. Paulo Nemolo continues. I don't even need to say his name at this point, right? You know it's him. You know he's dropping bombshells, and this is what we have to cover. Anyway, he goes on to say that basically they have their center back target right now. Juventus, as of today, is only and exclusively speaking with the entourage of Badiashile. Badiashile. I always mess that up. I always say Dia instead of Badia. Badiashile to have a good position to go and negotiate with Monaco. And I think this would be another good option for Juventus to bring in, though it's going to be a massive hole to fill to try to replace, by any means, the productivity, the leadership, the greatness that was Giorgio Chiellini at Juventus. We'll see what happens from there. Hopefully, this is a good start in developing in the right way for Juventus's future. But again, it's going to be an upward climb. Continuing on, PN. Maybe I'll just say PN for now on. Talking about the situation with Raspadori at Sassuolo. I know I'm going fast, guys, but like I said, there's a lot here, and I don't want to keep you all day here with me. He goes on to say that for Raspadori, Sassuolo continue to follow Israel, and he asked for information on that of Ranocchia. So potentially, maybe you could use a player like Filipe Ranocchia, who definitely has fallen off a little bit in recent months. But I say that because at the beginning of the season, a lot of people liked what they saw from him. A lot of people liked some of the things that he was doing. But the issue is with him is that you have all these other guys ahead of him when it comes to young talent, and we're going to get to them here in just a second, that really are going to move themselves in front of him, and before he even gets an opportunity at Juventus, it'll be a bit, so maybe it'll be a better option to end up using him in a little bit of a negotiation to bring down the price for the Raspadori and get Raspadori into Juventus as soon as possible. Talking about those youngsters, PN has another update saying that basically he's kind of confirming a lot of what I've been speculating on the last few weeks, just saying that there's room only for one of the youngsters, and that includes Moretti, Fagioli, and Rovella. They're all playing for at least one place in next year's squad, but Rovella could enter into negotiations with Roma. So hear that, all of you that are excited, all of you that are in this boat with me, Big Z is not dead. Big Z could still be an option for Juventus. They may end up using Rovella to bring Big Z into the club. Get hype. Anyway, I say it in jest, but I mean, who else would they be negotiating with Roma about, right? Anyway, Moretti, Fagioli, Rovella, especially if you look at, if for some reason that would end up happening, Moretti and Fagioli would be the two options to be looking at. I'm still on the Moretti train. I know a lot of people love Fagioli, though. PN, more to talk about with PN, and he gives us some updates, so you can kind of mark these guys off your list. One of them is a player that I did like, but these are the updates, some important information. He said basically no to Lodi. Renan Lodi will not be coming to Juventus. That's a player that I actually like quite a bit, looking at the left back situation. So it's kind of nice though to know, hey, take it off your counters. It's not happening. Don't worry about it. Let's move on. Then he goes on to say no to Paredes, another player that I was not high on Paredes at all. I don't want to say not high on him. Let's just say I wasn't really that interested in for Juventus pursuing him when there's other targets out there. But at the same time, no to Paredes, and then also no to a loan for Matias Soule, at least until January 2023 when he becomes a homegrown player for Juventus. I think at that point, that would be an interesting move where we also hear all the rumors about Matias Soule. Supposedly he's been promised so many things that he will end up being utilized more in depth and developed and going into next season. We'll see how true this ends up being, especially if they end up bringing, like people say, bringing in the likes of Di Maria to come in there, and then you have Matias Soule in there where he will maybe be a protege and learn from him and develop. We'll see how likely that is. Paulo Namolo, more updates, basically talking about the Morata situation, saying it's looking unfortunately more and more likely that Alvaro Morata will be departing from Juventus at the end of the season, saying there's about a €17 million difference between Juve's offer to keep Morata and a 10 to 15 bonus, and his 10 to 15 bonuses, or 10 plus 5 bonuses, what am I saying? And Atletico's request, which is 22 plus 5 in bonuses. So definitely right now, it seems that we are at an impasse when it comes to trying to keep him, and it looks more and more likely that he'll end up going out to another place, maybe a Barcelona, somewhere else. We'll see, keep an eye on that. About Arthur's situation, this is actually not Paulo Nomolo, this is Arthur's agent who is speaking, talking about the situation going on there, saying that Arthur is ready to leave Juventus. In January, he was close to Arsenal. He is too important a player to be marginalized. Although Allegri likes him, he wants two physically structured midfielders. It's not in anyone's interest to continue like this. So really, a professional way of going about this and just saying, we understand the situation. We understand we're not going to be a Rabiot. We're not going to be a whatever. We know what's best for Arthur, and we understand that there's no reason to keep him at the club. It's not a Ramsey situation. There's no reason to keep him here. He's a good enough player that he can go play somewhere else. And I think you can think what you think of Arthur overall. My personal opinion, I think he is a solid player. I just think overall his style does not fit what Juventus need. He's too slow. All the other issues that go along with that. So we'll see what happens with him going on in the future. But it looks like it'll be an easier departure with that player. player that will not be as easy of a departure is Bernardeschi, who Bernardeschi's agent speaking about Juventus and the situation going on there. He says with Juve, the dialogue for the renewal is open. His priority is to stay. Then it is normal that he has to open up two alternatives, which there are. He cannot imagine himself in a club that is not a top club. Juve is one, but there are also others. Not gonna laugh. I'm not gonna laugh. Guys, I'm not gonna laugh, guys. I'm not laughing at the comment of Bernardeschi telling me that he has to be at a top club and he cannot imagine himself being at a top club. I'm not laughing at this, okay? You can't make me laugh at this. I'm not laughing at the comment that he said. Dear Lord, I don't know. Like, what about your performance in the last few years has said that you deserve to be at a top club? I understand you want the money that a top club brings to you, but your performances do not add up to that. Bernardeschi, wake up. I don't know what else to say. It's ridiculous. Anyway, it's all nonsense at this point. I don't know. We'll see. It's fluctuated so much here recently, whether he's going to stay, whether he's going to go. We keep hearing that they're open to dialogue, and then I think yesterday or the day before, they're not open to dialogue. Whatever. I don't know which one it is. Which one's the likely situation? We'll see what happens. I think at this point, if you saw what you saw against in the Coppa Italia final, to me, there's just too much distance between the talent that Juventus have and the players that Juventus have and other teams like that. Bernardeschi, they don't need to be playing on their Quadrado. You're up on the block. I don't even know how I feel about you. And then Danilo, who I thought highly of, struggled a lot in that game. I don't know if these players are going to be good enough moving forward. Actually, I know that they're probably not, and Juventus need to make some moves. Last bit of news of the day. Pavel Nedved maybe feeling how a lot of you fans are feeling. Let's be honest. Let's just say that. Gazzetta dello Sport. This is Fabiana. She was dropping some bombs yesterday, and Fabiana's become a pretty trusted source when it comes to some things about Juventus. Basically, she's commented saying that Pavel Nedved, is not the biggest Allegri fan. He and Paratici pushed to get him sacked back in 2019, and Yeli is the reason that Allegri came back. Nedved was not really on board and fears for the future. After the final, there were some arguments in the locker room. Nedved did not like the attitude the players showed and the tactical choices that Allegri made. Once back in the hotel, after the final, there was a heated confrontation between Agnelli and Nedved. So, yeah, Nedved's battling. Nedved's down to battle. He's going to battle. He's going to be right there with all the, he is a big dog there, right? Because he's on the board and all that. But when it comes to the situation, him going up, the management, going up against Agnelli and saying, I don't like your guy. Your guy is not doing it. We'll see what that means. We'll see if there's some bad blood there and what that means for Nedved's future. But hopefully, this will be a wake-up call. And this will be a situation of this is not good enough. What we saw... I've gotten on here and I've yelled and screamed about the game, and I've gotten, passionate and upset and frustrated and all those feelings out there. But at the same time, it's good to see that there's actually somebody in Juventus that feels the same way we feel, that says this is not good enough. This will not work. You need to figure out the situation. And when I say will not work, it's continuing to play like this. I'm not saying that Allegri will not work, but I'm having more doubts than I used to have. We'll say that. Figure out the situation, make whatever moves you need to make. But at this time right now, or this time come the beginning of next season, this team better look a hell of a lot better than what we got right now. The fans don't deserve it. The management doesn't deserve it. The players don't deserve it. At the same time, the players that are here, I'm saying former players don't deserve it. The players that are here are dishonoring right now, really, the performances that Juventus' history has truly shown. It's really upsetting right now. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Do you agree with Nedved? Are you against what he was doing? Any of that nonsense? Let me know. And then, of course, all the news, the bombshells dropped by Paulo Namolo, the Pogba situation, the Savic situation, all of that. Let me know your comments. Let me know your comments in the comment section down below. If you haven't already, please smash that like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon to stay notified for all of our latest updates. Make sure you join the community. If you haven't consider joining the member squad. You got a lot of cool benefits there. You can jump on every once in a while, talk some sports with us, talk some Juventus, of course, and some other nonsense that I like to do from time to time. Make sure you follow Bianconeri Zone at Bianconeri Zone on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and make sure you follow me at Justin Sofro on Twitter as well. We'll see you guys next time. Forza Juve, Forza Bianconeri.